Welcome to the 2021 Celebration of Preservation, brought to you by AIA Cleveland and the Cleveland Restoration Society. My name is Scott Holbrook, and it's my privilege to serve as board chair of the Cleveland Restoration Society. We are thrilled you're able to join us today as we celebrate the very best preservation projects in Northeast Ohio over the past year. We're proud to present this program and to champion these projects because they go right to the heart of what CRS is all about, and that's revitalizing our communities through historic preservation, strengthening our local economy, and enhancing our quality of life. We're so thankful to our sponsors this year. First, let's give a round of applause to our capital level sponsors. Bedrock Detroit, Frost Architectural Preservation, Jameson Ricca Fenestration, K&D Group, and Maroos Brothers Construction. Many thanks also to our 2021 pillar level sponsors. We've received such an amazing amount of support this year, and your generosity makes this award program possible. And to our cornice level sponsors, your support means so much to us as well. Finally, for those of you who are not yet members, we hope you'll consider joining us as members at both Cleveland Restoration Society and AIA Cleveland. By becoming a member, you can help keep our historic preservation efforts and our region's beautiful architecture alive and well. With that, I'd like to send along my congratulations to all the award recipients tonight, and I hope you enjoy the show.
Greetings, my name is David Cron, and I'm honored to serve as the board president for AIA Cleveland this year. Historic preservation is an important part of our work at the Cleveland chapter of the American Institute of Architects. Our Historic Resources Committee is comprised of leading heritage experts with a deep commitment to preserving Northeast Ohio's historic assets and has been doing this great work since 1950. The committee advances the professional practice of preservation architecture, but also serves as an advocate and educator. Like the Society, American Institute of Architects promotes the value of preservation as an essential sustainability tool.
As we view this evening's award-winning projects, you will notice that many of these fabulous structures are designated Cleveland landmarks. The landmark designation process at the local level is vitally important, as it not only recognizes the significant role these buildings have played in our architectural and cultural heritage, it also provides protection of these community assets for decades to come. We are grateful to the excellent staff of the Cleveland Landmarks Department, headed up by Don Pettit and ably assisted by Carl Brunges. We also recognize the incredible time the members of the Cleveland Landmark Commission spend as they review countless requests on behalf of the citizens of Cleveland. This year marks the 50th anniversary of the Cleveland Landmarks Ordinance and Commission. The founding commissioner was John Simperman, who advocated for the development of the ordinance and the creation of the commission when he was a Cleveland councilman. Bravo, Mr. Simperman. Thank you from all of us. And here's to another 50 years of the Cleveland Landmarks program.
Hello, everyone. My name is Crystal Montgomery, jury chair of 2021 Celebration of Preservation. We are pleased that you can join us virtually to honor these amazing projects that keep alive our history, our cultural heritage, while inspiring new uses that engage our community, advance our economy, and enhance the aesthetics of our beautiful region. Our amazing jurors worked particularly hard this year as we had a record number of nominations. The competition was strong. Jurors dedicated much of their time to thoroughly review project nominations and make site visits across several counties. The jurors worked to select awards that met the criteria established by the AIA Cleveland and the Cleveland Restoration Society. This criteria included quality of the work, adherence to recognized preservation standards, risk factors, strategic implementation to promote innovative preservation, financing or partnering techniques, and the impact on the community it serves. Without further ado, it's time to see our winners.
The Excellence in Reconstruction Award goes to Fernway Elementary School. Located in the inner ring suburb of Shaker Heights and constructed in 1926, Fernway Elementary has been a beloved community school and asset for almost 100 years. Tragically, the school suffered from a horrible fire as the result of the ill-advised use of torch in the installation of new roofing material in 2018. As a result of putting out the fire, an estimated 500,000 gallons of water was used, which caused extensive water damage to the interior of the building. The Shaker Heights School Board and District decided to make a significant investment into the building above and beyond the building's insurance coverage. The district turned a tragedy into an opportunity and decided not only to repair the fire-damaged areas, but also to invest in the construction of 3 building additions to create an educational environment to meet their immediate and future needs. In order for the restoration to be viable, the existing asbestos in the ceiling and wall plaster had to be abated. This took place throughout the structure. The entire roof structure was rebuilt and roofed with new green slate and copper flashing, which matched the original details. Damaged sections to the original limestone cornice were replaced in kind. The original cupola was recreated to match historic photographs, ensuring all the details were replicated. The front entry was fully restored, including the door, limestone surround, and historic light fixture. On the interior, the original hardwood floors in the gym were restored. All wood trim, door, and cabinet profiles were replicated and finished to match the original. 3 building additions to house a new library and makerspace, kindergarten classroom, elevator, music classroom, and gym storage were incorporated into the project. The new additions mimic the existing building massing, fenestration, cornice, entry details, and roofing. All restoration and new construction were implemented with green building initiatives. Cleveland Restoration Society and AIA Cleveland congratulates the Shaker School District on the careful restoration of Fernway Elementary and happily presents them with the Excellence in Reconstruction Award.
Good evening. I'm Dr. David Glassner, Superintendent of the Shaker Heights City School District. On behalf of our entire district, I want to thank the Cleveland Restoration Society and AIA Cleveland for selecting Fernway Elementary School as the recipient of the Excellence in Reconstruction Award. July 10th will mark 3 years since the fire that nearly destroyed our historic school. Thank you to the incredible efforts of our district operations team, Van Auken Architects, Gilbane Building Company, the Shaker Schools Foundation, and the Fernway community. Fernway is open and again serving students, bigger and better than ever. Fernway is a great example of what can be accomplished when an entire community comes together with a common goal in mind. It is also a great example of how it is possible to preserve the cultural heritage of a school and still provide a 21st century learning environment inside. Thank you again for this recognition.
The Outstanding Rehabilitation Award goes to the 1907 at Central School. Located in the small town of Amherst in Lorain County on Church Street, 2 blocks south of the main commercial district in a residential neighborhood, Central School was vacant for over 3 decades and threatened with demolition multiple times before being purchased by Sprenger Healthcare Systems in 2016 for conversion to an independent lifestyle and assisted living facility in 2018. Listed in the National Register of Historic Places, the project took advantage of state and federal historic tax credits, along with abatement offered by the city of Amherst. The main portion of Central School was constructed in 1907 and designed by Cleveland architects Paul Searles and William Hirsch, who also designed Glamorgan Castle in Alliance and the Swetland Building at 1010 Euclid Avenue in Cleveland. A 1922 addition, doubling the size of the school, matching the detail of original building with some additional ornamentation, was constructed at the rear. It included a multi-purpose room used as a gymnasium, auditorium, and cafeteria, as well as science laboratories and other technical classrooms. The rehabilitation adapted the former school into an assisted living facility with 20 studios and 21 bedroom units for a total of 40 residential units spread over 3 floors of the building. Each unit has a bathroom and small kitchenette. The 2-story volume of the former gymnasium, which also has a stage and an upper-level walking track, was preserved by converting the space to dining and amenity area for the residents. A large ground floor kitchen is located across from the converted dining room. Residents have access to a salon, medical clinic, and soda shop. The former library on the 2nd floor is a large, open social space with comfortable seating and a bar for additional resident recreation and activities. The project also included adding a new ADA entrance and lobby, an elevator to make the building completely accessible, and a below-grade ramp outside the kitchen for deliveries. Appropriate new windows were installed as most of the original windows had been infilled with brick, glass block, or replaced with non-historic aluminum sash. A new 1-story rear connector links the historic building to an assisted living facility that fronts on an adjacent street. The residents of that building are able to use the amenities and services housed in Central School. Site work included grading, new landscaping, new walkways, and repair and replacement of the parking areas. Among the important character-defining features of the original building that have been maintained and rehabilitated are the high ceilings, brick walls, and the terrazzo-floored corridors. Every effort was made to respect and retain the surviving historic materials. The missing and damaged original obscure glass of the interior doors was replaced in kind with material obtained from suppliers in Louisiana. From its opening, Central School was an integral part of the Amherst community and central to its history and history of its citizens. As the only public school in Amherst for decades, Central educated grades K through 12 over its 80 years of use. After the building was closed, each time demolition was threatened, it was the residents and former students in the community that successfully opposed the destruction of a building that was and continues to be so important to so many. Now, as a senior assisted living facility, many former students are residents. With so many historic schools closed and abandoned across the state and country, and the growing need for senior housing, the Central School project is a model that can and should be emulated. It is for these reasons the Cleveland Restoration Society and AIA Cleveland present the 1907 at Central School with the Outstanding Rehabilitation Award.
First, I want to thank the Cleveland Restoration Society and AIA Cleveland for selecting 1907 at Central School for the Outstanding Rehabilitation Award. My father, Donald Springer, and my uncle, Tony Springer, purchased the school in 1988, hoping to make it an assisted living or senior care facility. But unfortunately, due to cost and everything that would have gone into it, they just weren't able to make that happen. So my cousin Michael and I were able to make this dream a reality, but we did that with the help of so many people, and I wanted to personally thank them now. Heather Rudge from the Historic Preservation Group, Howard Segal from RDL Architecture, Caitlin Sines who was our designer, as well as North Coast Design Build, who was our general contractor. We could never have done this without the city of Amherst and the mayor, as well as Huntington Bank, who was able to help us with financing. Our entire Springer team put so many hours of work and design into this, but most of all, I want to thank my cousin, Michael Springer. He took this project on as basically a family legacy. And in that, he spent countless hours with walking through the facility, making sure the design was absolutely perfect. He took every detail and went through it with a fine-tooth comb, and he made that facility absolutely amazing and beautiful. So with all that said, I just want to thank, again, Cleveland Restoration Society, AIA Cleveland, and everyone that put effort into making the Central School now a reality.
The Dedication to Preservation Award goes to Sanford House. The Nelson Sanford House was built as an adorned residence in 1862 on Franklin Avenue, one of Cleveland's grandest historic corridors. The ornate Italianate style structure is designated as a local Cleveland landmark. This building and its 1940s addition were home to the Cuyahoga County Archives for many years. Recently, the archives moved to their new location on Perkins Avenue, and the building was left vacant. It continued to suffer additional deterioration until the owners, Miles Gallagher and Kyle Cantor of Franklin Clubhouse LLC, purchased the building and rehabilitated it to house their company's offices. Before the project, many exterior architectural details were missing or damaged. Intact pieces of ornamentation were able to be removed and replicated out of resin. The decision was made to reconstruct the full early 20th century porch. The owners worked with Cleveland landmarks and architectural historians to devise an exterior color scheme based on historic photographs. Interior plaster molding and ceilings were water damaged, with portions collapsed entirely. Work was completed to fully replicate the original molding. Opulent wood floors were uncovered throughout the building and restored to their original finish. Throughout the interiors, careful consideration and planning was taken to integrate modern mechanical, electrical, and plumbing without compromising the floor plan or yielding exposed infrastructure. This project showed commitment to preservation of the original layout of the house while converting it to its new use as office space, making it functional for the company and aligned with their image. The rehabilitation of this residence and its conversion to office space went above and beyond necessity with its attention to maintaining historic detail. We are delighted to present the Sanford House with the Dedication to Preservation Award.
We want to thank AIA Cleveland and the Cleveland Restoration Society. We're super excited and honored to receive this award this year. Our firm started 27 years ago, just down the street in a historic firehouse. And so as soon as we saw this building, fell in love with it and fell in love with what we thought it could be. Our timeline was way over schedule and our budget was way over budget, but I think that's what you get when you get into historic preservation work. At the end, I think you almost always get way more than you ever thought you could. So appreciate the award and congratulations to everybody else.
The 2021 Heritage Home Program Award goes to the homeowners at 3018 Clinton Avenue. This unique home in one of the oldest neighborhoods in Cleveland was built in the backyard of a mid-1800s home on Clinton Avenue in 1913. This was a time of a population boom in Ohio City, with many parcels and lots adding new buildings to accommodate the growing population. At the time it was built as a 4-unit apartment building. It was at the corner of 2 alleys, Garden Alley and Cherry Alley. Neither of those alleys exist anymore. Marge and James Mysack purchased the property in the early 1990s, planning to make it and Ohio City their permanent family home. While they originally strived to restore both the front and rear structures, the homeowners found that the older front home was so badly deteriorated that rehabilitation was not feasible. With Landmark's approval, they demolished the front structure. The rear 4-family building was then rezoned as a 3-family home, with the first floor a single-family residence for the Mysacks family of 4. After raising their family in the home, the Mysacks used the Heritage Home Program to turn the first floor into a home that will be ready for aging in place using universal design. The Mysacks took the idea of universal design and implemented them into their home, removing barriers so that the home is able to be accessible and comfortable for many years to come. The Mysacks kitchen is a showcase of their universal design focus, with lower cabinets and an accessible workspace peninsula, giving the kitchen an open and welcoming feel. The Mysacks looked to preserving what they could from the interior and kept most of the flooring. The floors that needed to be replaced were replaced with new oak that blended in perfectly with the original wood. The new living room has a large wall of built-in shelving with details that match the home's original molding. During the demolition, they found an old window opening that was filled in a room off of the kitchen. Instead of covering it up again, they have left the brick exposed in that room to have an interesting accent wall. In the rear of the home, they removed a small staircase. This allowed for a much larger bathroom to be added, one that has an accessible walk-in shower. On the exterior, one distinctive change the Mysacks made was a new front door. They researched to find an appropriate door for their home and found a style that fit much better and was more accurate to the building's age. The Mysacks now have a large family home suited for their needs to stay in their Ohio City neighborhood for many years to come. Cleveland Restoration Society is pleased to present the Mysack family at 3018 Clinton Avenue with the 2021 Heritage Home Program Award.
So thank you so much to the Cleveland Restoration Society for this award. My husband Jim and I are delighted to receive it. We weren't expecting anything of the sort. When it came time to deciding what we were going to do as we're nearing retirement, thinking about could we age in place in this building, and we started thinking about that and looked into it and worked with a fantastic design build company, Odell Construction, and Justin Odell worked with us on designing a house that we could now age in place. And the Cleveland Restoration Society with the Heritage Home Program was fantastic to work with. The technical assistance that they provided for us with our exterior, trying to figure out what was relevant to a really, if you see the exterior of our building, it's was just a workers' housing from the beginning, and so it did not take any kind of fancy door or treatment or anything, and finding the right treatment for that. Working with the Heritage Home Program has been wonderful. Working with Jessica Beam, and the process has been just seamless in connecting with our bank and connecting with our contractor. So I just like to give a shout out to both Odell Construction and the Heritage Home Program, and we couldn't have done it without all of you. So thank you so much.
The Award of Excellence for Restoration is presented to Woodland Cemetery Gatehouse. Opened in 1853, the 60-acre Woodland Cemetery served as Cleveland's main cemetery well into the early 20th century. The cemetery functioned as both a city park and resting place for many of Cleveland's earliest families. Woodland is also home to Civil War veterans, African Americans, and men and women of various immigrant groups, telling the story of those who settled here in Northeast Ohio. The cemetery was listed in the National Register of Historic Places in 1986 and designated a Cleveland landmark in 2008. The Woodland Cemetery Gatehouse was completed in 1875 and designed by architect Joseph Ireland. The impressive Gothic arch, complete with office and waiting room, welcomed visitors to the cemetery for over 100 years. Years of deferred maintenance led to the deterioration of the structure, and by 1995, the gatehouse had to be completely dismantled. Fortunately, someone had the foresight to document the deconstruction and number the 1,530 stones. Stones were placed on pallets, and a sketch was drawn with the numbered stones in the hopes that it would be resurrected at an unknown later date when funding might become available. Over the next 15 years, the Woodland Cemetery Foundation formed and began restoration and education efforts in the cemetery. Projects of the foundation have included raising funds to replace missing eagle statues from the graves of Civil War heroes, the restoration and stabilization of several mausoleums and headstones, recognizing African American Civil War veterans with a monument, and installation of headstones for their graves. In 2011, the group was working towards a fundraising plan for the Gatehouse when the City of Cleveland announced that funding was discovered to restore the Gatehouse at the Erie Street, Monroe Street, and Woodland cemeteries. Erie and Monroe were done first, the easiest of the three projects. Several years later, the Woodland Cemetery restoration began in March of 2018. Sona Construction, along with architect Kevin Robinette and masonry specialists from McMahon Masonry Restoration, were brought in to inventory all stored materials and palletize the stones. This resulted in an accurate count of all available stones and their condition. It was determined that approximately 1,500 of the original 1,530 stones were reusable. Masons then began reconstruction of the gatehouse by building interior walls out of CMU. The original stone was then applied to the exterior as a veneer. Some of the stones were damaged, in which case craftsmen replicated the profiles using original stone from a former annex building that was not being reconstructed. The massive Gothic arch was then rebuilt, spanning the entryway. Once all of the stone was erected, the structure was lightly washed and any units that had spalled were patched with a stone restoration material. Finally, the historic fence and gates were restored to their original glory and reinstalled. The Gatehouse Plaza incorporates original stone porch slabs as entry elements. Finishing touches include new lighting and fresh landscaping. According to the Woodland Cemetery Foundation, it took many talented and committed people working together to bring the Gatehouse back to life. The result has made an impact on the community, the descendants of those residing at Woodland Cemetery, and all who come to visit. For these reasons, AIA Cleveland and Cleveland Restoration Society are pleased to present the Award of Excellence for Restoration to the Woodland Cemetery Gatehouse.
Adrian Bailey, the City of Cleveland representative on the Woodland Cemetery Gatehouse restoration. Mayor Frank Jackson and the Mayor's Office of Capital Project would like to thank the Cleveland Restoration Society and the American Institute of Architects for selecting the Woodland Cemetery Gatehouse for the 2021 Municipal Stewardship Award. As the project manager, I coordinated the construction of them on the behalf of the owner with the consultant Kevin Robinette Architects and Bonnie Smith Architect, the general contractor, Sona Construction. It was an honor to rebuild this historical gatehouse. McMahon Masonry Restoration for the stones, the fabricators architecture, fiberglass for the roof, Great Northern Fence for the refurbish of the original fence, along with the other subcontractors involved with the success of the project. Thank you.
The Outstanding Reinstatement of a Historic Interior Award goes to the Music Hall in Cleveland's Public Auditorium. One of 7 buildings constructed as part of Cleveland's 1903 group plan, the Public Auditorium building was completed in 1922. The Music Hall has been host to a number of iconic concerts and shows throughout the years, ranging from the Cleveland Orchestra and Duke Ellington to the Beatles and David Bowie. The Cleveland Public Auditorium and Music Hall is a local landmark, along with being part of the Cleveland Mall National Register Historic District. The original interior of the Music Hall space has been remodeled in the past, with many of the historic decorative elements replaced or removed. The Music Hall suffered severe water damage when a rooftop HVAC unit failed and flooded the hall from the top down. Additional water issues sped the plaster deterioration and paint failure, as well as damaging the seat and carpet replacements. This initiated the opportunity to restore and recreate the original historic features. New historically appropriate seating and carpeting were recreated from an analysis done on historic photos and original materials. No original carpet remained, and the design team painstakingly performed a detailed analysis of hues and motifs in the historic photos, as well as research of carpet catalogs from the time period, in order to come up with a historically appropriate design based on the original. Historic seats were discovered in another hall of the building, and the team was able to use a combination of those examples and photographic evidence to achieve a design near the original. The project also included updates to accommodate ADA requirements, reconfiguration of the orchestra pit, plaster repair on walls and ceilings, as well as electrical and HVAC repairs. The Music Hall is a great example of balance between restoring and recreating important lost and damaged historic features, while adjusting the space to accommodate ADA requirements and modern technology. The resulting space is truly an improvement and has enlivened the historic theater space. The renovation has brought back its original sparkling grandeur. It is for these reasons we present the Music Hall in the Public Auditorium with the Outstanding Reinstatement of a Historic Interior Award.
Division of Architecture and Site Development of the Mayor's Office of Capital Project has the distinct privilege of being the stewards of several Cleveland landmarks, including Music Hall. Having hosted countless memorable performance events over 90 years of operation, Music Hall embodies both the best of our architectural heritage and our regional commitment to the arts. This generational opportunity to reposition this iconic venue within the constellation of Cleveland's incredible collection of historic theaters demanded a substantial commitment of human and material and financial resources. Mayor Frank Jackson and his administration provided the impetus and ensured the availability of these resources to transform what began as a simple seating and carpeting replacement project into a complete historic renovation of this magnificent space. With new roof and new air handling unit projects, as well as an assessment of our lovely little theater right next door to Music Hall in progress, the city's commitment to our built legacy continues. So watch this space. It is truly an honor to accept this American Institute of Architects Cleveland Restoration Society Award on behalf of this outstanding project team, as well as on the behalf of future generations of Clevelanders who will be able to enjoy performances in this iconic venue for years to come. Thank you.
The Award of Merit for the interior rehabilitation of an iconic landmark is presented to the Terminal Tower. Widely recognized as Cleveland's most iconic structure, the 52-story Terminal Tower was listed in the National Register of Historic Places as part of the Union Terminal Group in 1976, recognizing its national significance as urban business complex unlike anything existing outside of New York in the 1920s. The tower functioned as an office complex until 2016, when the K&D Group set about converting 350,000 square feet of the tower into residential apartment units. The new tenant and residential layout focuses on the reuse and preservation of existing historic corridors, doors, windows, and finishes such as the bronze elevators, signs, and historic mail chutes. The renovation has also returned corridors to areas where those original corridors had been removed. Historic material such as marble walls was retained where possible and reinstated where missing. Apartments were built out with high-quality finishes, and a rooftop amenity space was added for tenants that is not visible from the ground. Mechanical systems throughout the tower were in need of an upgrade. Special attention was paid to the integration of new sprinkler systems across the entire project. Skilled craftsmen were employed to install this upgrade in historic areas such as the decorative barrel vault ceiling over the entry lobby. Plaster rosettes were carefully removed, the sprinkler system installed, the rosettes reinstated with great precision. It is nearly impossible to tell where the sprinkler heads are. A similar unobtrusive approach was used in the Greenbrier Suite, an adjacent waiting room, where the sprinkler system was installed behind decorative wood and plaster ornamentation. As you can see, the interior of the Terminal Tower has been sensitively renovated to accommodate almost 300 new residential spaces, with special care taken to preserve the existing historic material of one of Cleveland's most beloved architectural treasures. Cleveland Restoration Society and AIA Cleveland are pleased to present the Terminal Tower with the Award of Merit for the interior rehabilitation of an iconic landmark.
Hello everybody, Doug Price, Karen Pagadini with K&D Group. Just want to thank everybody for this award for Terminal Tower. As you're probably aware, Terminal Tower was converted the first 14 floors into apartments, about 300 apartments a couple years ago with a rooftop deck, and the 15th floor being amenities for the apartments with a fitness center. The rest of the building is stayed commercial in the upper part of the tower, and happy to report that we're about 98% occupied in the apartment portion and about 93% in the commercial portion. I think, Terminal Tower being the iconic building that it is, we had a great time with the draft that was here recently with the different team colors being projected on the tower. So, again, we do a lot with the lighting on the tower. Always trying to promote Cleveland. So thank you for the award, and we'll keep doing what we do.
Thank you.
Increasingly, Cleveland has found itself at the intersection of several positive trends in its celebrated bounce back and growth. Investment is flowing into the city, and previously underdeveloped areas are changing for the better. The same wave of change touches many of Cleveland's 28 locally designated historic districts. As a city that celebrates and draws value from its history, Cleveland is trying to balance those trends. As architects, we love to leave our mark on the built environment. We also appreciate, support, and nurture the context of our work and the way our community's roots are protected and encouraged to grow. Building in a manner compatible with historic district's character while instilling new life in it is a challenging task. When the work of our colleagues successfully achieves these goals, their success calls for celebration. This year, AIA Cleveland introduces a newly created award for compatible new construction in a historic district. We feel that such design success serves the same larger goal as the preservation and adaptation of existing historic buildings, namely the preservation of historically significant built environments, buildings, and districts alike. In introducing the award, we also wish to spotlight its introduction to the AIA Cleveland membership and call for more good work from Cleveland and elsewhere to be submitted for the 2022 celebration of preservation. Next year, we hope to be able to highlight another new award category for compatible new addition to a historic district.
The AIA Award for Compatible New Building in an Historic District is presented to the Quarter. Ohio-based real estate developer Snavely Group spearheaded the transformation of the West 25th and Detroit Avenue intersection in the Ohio City Historic District with its multi-phase development known as the Quarter. Founded in 1818 and incorporated in 1836, Ohio City remained independent of Cleveland until it was annexed in 1854. The area's architecture reflects the growth of Ohio City through the turn of the 20th century, with fine examples ranging from Greek Revival and Italianate to Victorian era and commercial style buildings, mixed with vernacular style workers' cottages. Landmark structures such as the West Side Market, Forest City Bank, and St. Malachi Church anchor the West 25th Street corridor. With the historic district context in mind, the VOCON team started with a thorough analysis of the area, an exhaustive study of massing, sightlines, street and neighborhood characteristics, with emphasis on the streetscape experience, offered a solid basis for the creative design exercise that followed. The design sought to diminish scale, maximize lake views and daylight, and to provide a continuing natural rhythm carried over from the historic warehouses in Ohio City. Parking is tucked behind and under the building. The streetscape experience was intentionally analyzed to integrate greening, lighting, texture, and rhythm while relating to the human scale to promote safety and well-being. The quarter introduces 194 residential units in 30,000 square feet of commercial space into Ohio City. Residential perks include a lush, raised amenity level with pool and gardens, a club room, substantial fitness facilities, bike storage, secure bike parking, and mechanical support, integrated public art, a dog walk and wash, and a lounge and living room that brings about casual collisions between neighbors with immediate access to the grocery. AIA Cleveland applauds the design of the quarter that respects the surrounding historic district and benefits the community. Congratulations on earning the award for compatible new building in an historic district.
Hello, I'm Jody Vanderwill. I'm a design director with Vocon. And on behalf of the quarter team, we would like to thank AIA Cleveland and the Cleveland Restoration Society for recognizing this project. The Snavely Group, our client and builder, recognized the significance of this key site through the lens of urban development and equitable communities. This project became a means to connect residents with housing, food, education, and recreation. The Snavely's requested that their development embody a timeless classic approach to the design, respectful of its surroundings. For inspiration, the team studied the massing and scale of the buildings within Cleveland's warehouse district. The group worked tirelessly with ODOT, city planners, Ohio City Inc., and the area residents. Now, one of the busiest multimodal corners in Cleveland, this project stands as a gateway to Cleveland's west side and a catalyst for future growth. On behalf of the entire quarter team, thanks so much for recognizing this work.
The Community Impact Award is presented to the Pivot Center for Art, Dance, and Expression. Listed in the National Register of Historic Places, the formerly vacant Ostrop Awning Complex at the corner of West 25th and Seymour Avenue has been sensitively adapted into the Pivot Center for Art, Dance, and Expression. Constructed over time between 1919 and 1983, these industrial buildings were home to the family-owned Ostrop Company for 131 years. Founded by Danish immigrant William Ostrop in 1876, the company first produced sails for ships and later awnings. An innovative hardware system for installing awnings led to 5 patents for the company between 1889 and 1912. These and other patents the company acquired over its lifetime left a lasting impact on the awning and canvas industry. The complex was completely refurbished consistent with the Secretary of the Interior standards for rehabilitation. All exterior masonry was repaired and modern glazing industrial sashes were installed into window openings using original drawings. New street-facing openings were created to accommodate programming and meet preservation standards. On the interior, the original industrial end grain woodblock flooring found throughout the entire 22,000 square feet of the first floor was deteriorating from being soaked in toxic creosote. It was removed and replaced with southern yellow pine wood blocks that were sourced from the only 2 firms in the country. The new wood block flooring was installed in the first floor common areas. Tenant spaces celebrate the industrial character of the buildings with exposed concrete and structural steel ceilings, mushroom cap columns, polished concrete floors, and exposed ductwork. Creative financing was required for this project and included historic tax credits and new market tax credits. The result is a fully renovated space that houses a variety of arts-based nonprofits, including the Cleveland Museum of Art, a modern dance company, Black Box Theater, a Latin radio station, art conservation organization, music instruction, graphic artist collaborative, and social service groups. The creation of the Pivot Center for Art, Dance, and Expression has re-energized the community with new opportunities for neighborhood young people to engage in the arts and express themselves. AIA Cleveland and Cleveland Restoration Society are delighted to present the Pivot Center for Art, Dance, and Expression with the Community Impact Award.
Good evening. The Cleveland Restoration Society has been a leader nationwide in preserving our built environment through thoughtful and creative redevelopment, restoration, and renovation. It's been half a century since people like Maxine Levin, John Simperman, and Bob Gady worked together to create the Cleveland Restoration Society. It was back then that we worked together to distribute this poster that's hanging on the wall behind me, something I created in 1975 to try to heighten awareness of the preservation and restoration movement. So, for us to receive this award tonight is truly an honor. It serves to honor those people who were the pioneers in this whole movement nearly half a century ago. So thank you very much.
The Award of Design Excellence goes to Tinnerman Lofts. This industrial structure near the intersection of Fulton and Lorraine Roads in the Ohio City neighborhood was historically home to the Tinnerman Steel Range Company, known for their important innovations in steel kitchen stoves and ranges, as well as fasteners. The company's initial location, built in the 1890s, was in the center of the block, accessible only via alleys. In 1914, a 60,000 square foot, 3-story addition was built, which created frontage on Fulton Road. Over the years, the company grew and so continued to expand their building space. Tinnerman Products relocated in 1950 to a much larger manufacturing facility in Brooklyn, Ohio, but continued to use the Fulton Road building as a branch plant, finally selling it in 1957. The property has been occupied by numerous companies in the past 6 decades. The building was vacant when the project to convert the building into 51 apartment units was recently initiated. The structure is listed on the National Register of Historic Places and was able to utilize state and federal historic tax credits. The project adhered to the Secretary of the Interior standards for rehabilitation, and as a result, maintained both interior and exterior features characteristic of its industrial space. A historic photo was used to guide the reinstatement of details on the Fulton Road facade. Inappropriate exterior alterations were removed, and a new building entrance and lobby were created at the rear of the 1914 addition, where it meets the original mid-block building. Work also included reinstating original window openings and installing new windows that replicate the appearance of large industrial sash, new roofing and reinstatement of clear-story windows, as well as a mix of repairs to existing historic finishes and installation of new finishes. New mechanical and plumbing systems were integrated in a subtle manner, preserving existing brick walls and exposed ceilings. A notable feature of this rehabilitation is its partnership with the Yards Project, a local arts group. The collaboration populates the building with amazing local artwork, which was commissioned specifically for this structure and has been carefully and thoughtfully integrated with the space. The project has successfully adaptively reused and rehabilitated a landlocked vacant building for residential use in a residential neighborhood, and has done so with exemplary attention to design. It has made this open warehouse space a genuinely comfortable, warm home for its residents while managing to maintain its architectural and historical integrity. For these reasons, we are pleased to present the Tinnerman Lofts with the Award of Design Excellence.
Hi everyone, Andrew Irusi here from the Dallid Group, sitting inside the newly opened Tinnerman Lofts in Ohio City. And on behalf of our team at Dallid and our partners on this project, I'd like to thank Cleveland Restoration Society and AIA Cleveland for the Award of Design Excellence. Tinnerman Lofts, I think, celebrates the history of our industrial past here in Cleveland that was rooted in hard work and innovation, in this case as was exemplified by generations of the Tinnerman family throughout the 1900s. But it also illustrates the great opportunity we have here to take buildings from that time period and repurpose them into new, beautiful, relevant spaces and uses. There are a lot of challenges that come with doing that along the way, and so I think having good partners is key, and we had several of those, both challenges and good partners. So I'd like to take the opportunity to thank some of those folks, being that this is about preservation and design. I'll start with Heather Rudge and her team at HP Group, the design team, Jeff and Alicia Gibbon from Gibbon Architecture, and Bill Regaler, who dreamed up a lot of the sizzle of the interior space that you see behind me here. Some great engineers, IEC, Isaac Lewin, CISO, Jamie Schwartzberg, our landscape architect, Krill Construction, our CM partner on the project, and Dollar Bank, who served as the construction lender and tax credit investor without whom this project wouldn't have been possible. Also, I'd like to take the opportunity to thank Ohio City Inc. and the City of Cleveland, the Building Department, Planning and Zoning, Councilman McCormick for all of their support. They were key to this project and facilitators to making it happen. So thanks again. Congratulations to the other recipients and nominees on some spectacular projects.
The Excellence in Urban Adaptive Reuse Award is presented to Prospect Yard. Located in the campus district of downtown Cleveland at 1937 Prospect Avenue, north of the Wolstein Center, Prospect Yard was originally designed by architects Albert F. and Frank D. Skeel and built in 1917 for the Stuyvesant Motor Company. This 5-story early 20th century commercial style building is a registered Cleveland landmark and listed in the National Register of Historic Places for its contribution to Cleveland's automobile industry. The Prospect Yard project utilized state and federal historic tax credits, along with low-income housing tax credits, to finance the adaptation of this commercial structure into workforce housing. On the exterior of the building, structural masonry and concrete repairs were completed first, and a new EPDM roof was installed. Existing exterior masonry materials, including windowsills, brick pilasters, and stone ornamentation, are original and remain intact. On the interior, materials and structural features were carefully preserved and exposed to serve as a record of the building's original form and function. Portions of the building had decayed to the point of threatening the structural integrity. Repairing the structure and abating hazardous materials that had infected some areas were paramount to making the building safe and habitable again. Brownfield financing covered the cost to remove layers of the contaminated concrete and replace with new. The concrete floor slabs were then able to remain exposed in the final design of the project, linking the building back to its historic use. Among the many interesting features of the building is freshly retrofitted underground residential parking area, once used for car storage, with exposed interior concrete columns and the original joist and slab ceilings. Arguably, the most striking features of the entire project are the newly restored, large, multi-pane steel sash windows that frame views of the Cleveland skyline and now flood the new apartment units with natural light. Many of the windows are original to the building, with the exception of those in the first and fifth floors, which had been bricked in by a previous occupant. Great care was taken to repair and restore the extant windows with energy-efficient glass. The previously infilled window openings have been replaced with exact replicas of the originals copied from historic photographs. The Stuyvesant Motor Company building has been transformed into 42 1- and 2-bedroom loft-style apartment units, combining highly desirable characteristics of market-rate properties not often found within affordable family units. The rehabilitation project also brought economic and community benefits to the area through the creation of construction jobs and by way of spending directed at local businesses within the city's entertainment district and revitalized downtown. For these reasons, AIA Cleveland and Cleveland Restoration Society present Prospect Yard with the Excellence in Urban Adaptive Reuse Award.
Hello, I'm Elizabeth Corbin Murphy with Prospectus. The Stuyvesant Motor Company building, to most of you, the City Blueprint building, was constructed between 1915 and 1919 and has been vacant for 20 years prior to its transformation to workforce housing. With magnificent views of Cleveland through the large industrial windows, natural light enhances living at the new Prospect Yard apartments. Thank you to the Cleveland Restoration Society for acknowledging Woda Cooper Company's mission to provide high quality and affordable housing. Thank you to the entire team, Ohio Housing Finance Agency, Ohio Development Services Agency, CREA, KeyBank, City of Cleveland, Thorson Baker and Associates, and Woda Cooper Company's development, construction, and management teams.
The Distinguished Retrofit of a Sacred Landmark Award goes to Olympic Forest Products. The former St. Vladimir Ukrainian Orthodox Church, located on West 11th Street in the Tremont neighborhood, was the first Ukrainian Orthodox church established in Cleveland. It was the heart of the Ukrainian religious and social community for several decades, and then was purchased by the Spanish Assembly of God in 1967 for their community's religious center. It is a contributing resource in the Tremont Historic District, where many high-style churches serve as prominent landmarks in the community. The church had been vacant and in disrepair for a number of years. The Olympic Forest Products Company took on the project, using state and federal historic tax credits to adapt the church to house the new corporate offices for their business. The rehabilitation of this building preserved the vacant church and rectory, addressing many deferred maintenance issues, halting the ongoing deterioration of historic finishes, and returning the property to productive use. The exterior of the building underwent a comprehensive repair and maintenance program. The characteristic glazed, variegated gold-orange brick had been previously repaired with incompatible materials, and damage had been caused by an unsympathetic aluminum canopy on the front elevation. With the new repairs and rebuilt portions of the exterior, special care was taken to match the glazed brick. Specialty windows and doors were retained and restored, and vinyl windows were replaced with aluminum windows that matched the remaining historic wood windows. Perhaps most notably, the beautiful front rose window was retained, and lights were installed to show off the building's striking facade at nighttime. Incompatible alterations were removed, and ADA accessibility was addressed. New mechanical, electrical, plumbing, and fire suppression systems were installed. On the interior, the few historic elements that remained were retained and preserved. The church and rectory spaces were rehabilitated for the company's open office space, conference and meeting rooms, private offices, a fitness area, a kitchen cafe, and storage. The conversion of the historic St. Vladimir Church to office space for the Olympic Forest Product Company is a great example of the incredible potential for the often difficult adaptive reuse of sacred landmarks in our community. For this reason, we are pleased to award Olympic Forest Products with the Distinguished Retrofit of a Sacred Landmark Award.
Good evening. My name is Dan Andrews, owner of Olympic Forest Products. On behalf of everyone at Olympic Forest Products and the team we assembled to restore the St. Vladimir Church in Tremont, we'd like to thank the Cleveland Restoration Society and AIA of Cleveland for this recognition and award. In our search for a new headquarters that led us to Tremont, Ohio, for me, when I saw the church, it was love at first sight. However, I did have somewhat of a blurred vision on how to move forward, so I'd like to thank everyone who got it done for us. Number one, Tremont West and Katie Harkness, Ward 3 coordinator, who set up the first meeting. After that, we were off to the races. General contractor, Oster Services, Jess and Alexis Oster, owners and colleagues Sean Nugent and Brendan Ricketts. MCM Group, Melissa Furchel. Historical Preservation Group, Heather Rudge and Wendy Kyle. Gibbon Architecture, Jeff Gibbon and his associate, Teresa Vitale. LDI Lighting Dynamics, Rick Cloberly and Dave Cardwell. Lighting Design, Ron Friedman, McMahon Masonry. North Electric, Geauga Mechanical, Carpenter Doug Burns, First Choice Roofing, ArcLight Glassworks, APG Furnishings, Gray House Studios, Christy Gray, Lakeside Automation Services, Matt Zielinski. And on the financial end, I would like to thank our long-term partner, Chase Bank, Mary Beth Weber. The federal, state, local, and new market tax credits were essential to getting this project done. The City of Cleveland Vacancy Initiative, and all of Olympic suppliers and customers, and a special thanks to Sharon Williams, who got us on the map nationally. In closing, I would like to thank Jess and Alexis Oster. Love you guys. Thanks so much for everything you did. Missy and Heather were great. Jeff Gibbon, his creativity and dogged determination to get this project to the finish line was great. Thanks to everybody. Thank you so much for the award.
The Catalytic Rehabilitation of an Urban Block Award is presented to the Bowery District and Standard Savings Bank. In 2018, leading developers and city visionaries invested nearly $42 million in restoring and rehabilitating 6 historic downtown Akron buildings into what is now being dubbed the Bowery District, a redevelopment that impacts an entire city block. To date, 5 of these structures have been fully renovated using a combination of new market tax credits along with state and federal historic tax credits. The buildings are in the South Main Historic District and were built anywhere from 1904 through 1920. Many of the buildings in the South Main Historic District were designed by prominent national and local architects and reflect the dominant architectural styles of the early 20th century, including Art Deco, Classical Revival, Renaissance Revival, and Commercial. The historic Akron Savings and Loan Building and adjacent 3 structures were rehabilitated to create 92 apartment units on the 2nd through 12th floors with commercial space at street level. Historic finishes and features, including marble walls and terrazzo flooring in corridors and elevator lobbies, were repaired. Missing historic corridors were reinstated to provide circulation on all the upper floors and extended to the adjacent buildings. The CE Link building at 172 South Main was utilized to provide a community room accessible to the residents along with a roof deck. The lower floors of this building are used to provide a pedestrian connection from Main Street to a park along the canal. Commercial spaces have been prepared for future tenants on the main street. Significant restoration of historic ceilings occurred in these spaces, including decorative plaster, crown moldings, embossed metal on ceilings, and restoration of historic flooring, both marble and terrazzo. The building facades underwent comprehensive restoration, with all historic masonry being cleaned and repaired, most notably the historic arches that had been previously demolished on the top floor of Akron's Savings and Loan were reconstructed. Storefront systems were also replaced to closely replicate the historic windows originally there at street level. On the canal facade, haphazard additions were removed and balconies were installed to take advantage of the park views. As part of the complete block redevelopment, the Standard Savings Bank building was also renovated. Storefront systems were replaced to closely replicate the historic windows originally in place at street level. The project rehabilitated the vacant spaces, historically used as offices for future commercial tenants. A former office maintains a fireplace and advertisements painted on the masonry wall of the older adjacent building. On the main street level, a raised ceiling in the middle of the space with decorative plaster moldings was repaired and reconstructed. On the 2nd floor, a leaded glass ceiling was completely reconstructed and backlit. The main street facade was reconstructed on the 1st and 2nd floors to replicate the stone details documented in a historic photo. Existing wood windows on the 3rd floor were preserved and repaired. On the canal facade, the haphazard addition was removed, the wall reconstructed, and balconies were installed to take advantage of the park views. The rehabilitation of the Bowery District Apartments and the Standard Savings Bank preserve and celebrate downtown Akron's past. An economic impact study shows that the redevelopment of this block will generate over $245 million after 20 years. The Bowery District project is catalytic for the future development of downtown Akron. It is for these reasons AIA Cleveland and the Cleveland Restoration Society present the Bowery District and Standard Savings and Loan with the Catalytic Rehabilitation of an Urban Block Award.
On behalf of the Bowery Development Group, the City of Akron, the Development Finance Authority of Summit County, thank you for this most meaningful award and honor. From its very beginning, the Bowery project, the $42 million restoration and rehabilitation of 6 historic downtown Akron buildings, was destined to not only be catalytic, but the keystone project for all future downtown Akron development. The restored buildings have been adapted, modernized for mixed-use residential, office, and retail purposes, but the preservation of their historic details preserves and celebrates Akron's past. These buildings would not have survived another winter. Now they solidify South Main Street as one of Akron's most valuable districts for culture, entertainment, and residential use, and are ready to meet the challenging demands for how people live, learn, work, and play. Though residents are already doing just that, there is still commercial space available. I invite you to come experience and enjoy Akron's new vitality and prosperity. Thank you again for recognizing our effort.
The Distinguished Adaptation of a Cleveland Landmark Award and the AIA Building Craft Award are presented to the May. Designed by Daniel Burnham and Company, the May Company was constructed in 1915 as a 6-story building and renovated into an 8-story building in 1931. Designed in the commercial style fostered by the Chicago School, the building is a full block deep with facades facing both Euclid and Prospect Avenues. When the May Company opened in 1915, it was said to be the 3rd largest department store in the country. Shoppers could find everything they needed for their homes and more. The store featured the largest soda fountain in downtown Cleveland and offered services such as a hair salon and children's playground where mothers could drop off their children and shop unencumbered. The May Company building operated as a department store until 1993. When Bedrock Detroit purchased the May Company in 2017, the 968,000 square foot building was minimally occupied and had been that way for decades. Bedrock Detroit secured the design build services of Geist Construction and set out to convert the landmark into a mixed-use structure that is comprised of retail on the 1st and 9th floors, 307 apartment units, indoor parking, and a rooftop terrace. The May Company building is both a Cleveland landmark and listed in the National Register of Historic Places. The developer was able to take advantage of the project's historic status and received state and federal historic tax credits. The Euclid Avenue and Prospect Avenue facades of this prominent structure are faced entirely in white terracotta, including a dentil cornice, decorative spandrels and belt courses, relief carvings, and applied ornament. Each facade includes Chicago windows placed between pilasters on the 2nd through 7th stories, with smaller individual double-hung windows at the 8th floor. The Euclid facade features a large ornamental terracotta sign above the parapet that includes a 3-sided terracotta clock. The terracotta facade required significant repair and replacement, as many pieces suffered from extreme damage and deterioration, including the significant corrosion of steel anchors and supporting structure. Rather than choosing a less expensive product, the owner chose to replace deteriorated pieces with real terracotta. Almost 2,400 new terracotta pieces were expertly manufactured by Boston Valley Terracotta. Grunwell Cachero precisely installed the new terracotta with stainless steel anchors. All horizontal terracotta surfaces, including sills and belt courses, received new flashing to protect the skyward joints from water infiltration. New aluminum storefront assemblies in a dark bronze finish were installed at both the Euclid Avenue and Prospect elevations. On the Prospect Avenue facade, the historic terracotta storefront surrounds were cleaned and repaired and reinstated where missing. Special garage entry doors were installed that mimic the look of a storefront window. Historic Art Deco sconces that remained between each bay were stripped of paint and restored. All of the repairable wood windows were consolidated on the 2nd and 3rd floors, rebuilding the frames from existing parts including incorporating all those with the May Company emblem etched into the glass on the Euclid Avenue elevation. On the floors above 3, new historically accurate windows were manufactured in aluminum. A giant light well and atrium was created by cutting a hole in the roof and opening up the center of floors 6 through 8. This not only provides a resident amenity space, but also allowed additional apartment units to be created by bringing light into the apartments encircling the perimeter on 3 floors. With outstanding new amenity spaces and graciously appointed apartments to a beautifully restored exterior, the May Company building has been given a new life and is once again a vibrant part of Cleveland's architectural legacy. AIA Cleveland is delighted to present Bedrock Detroit, Boston Valley Terracotta, and Grunwell Cachero with the Building Craft Award for the production and installation of the terracotta at the May. The decision to use real terracotta and the quality of the work are truly award-worthy.
The May Building. There she is. Well, in 2 years, how do you remove and replace 2,000 pieces of terracotta with 300 different shapes? Remove and reset 300 existing pieces on the building. Do 7,000 square feet of terracotta repair, mostly decorative. 11,000 linear feet of tuck pointing. Thousands of square feet of reglazing. And 75,000 square feet of washing. We need a restoration contractor with a long line of experience, almost 70 years, with a dedication to restoration. That's Grunwell Cachero. But there's no way we could do it alone. We need a building owner that wants to use historically accurate materials. They'll spare no expense to assure the building is properly restored and preserved. This is a rare occurrence, but thanks to John Olszewski and Bedrock, they made it happen, and we appreciate the opportunity. You also need a construction manager and an architect that truly wants to work with the subcontractors as a team. They promote a collaborative project, and the May would never have been a success without the Geist companies in the lead. You need a terracotta manufacturer like Boston Valley that has the technological capacity to make a job like this work, and they also have deep experience to assist with any of the problems that arise in the restoration project. You need the almost 50 Grunwell Cachero craftsmen from the BAC and labor's unions. They worked tirelessly and had great attention to detail to see this project through. This award and working on this project was a great honor, and I'd like to thank everyone at AIA for its consideration. Thank you very much.
Cleveland Restoration Society and AIA Cleveland congratulate the May for this outstanding adaptive use that will infuse downtown with new residents and vibrancy. We are pleased to present the entire project team with the award for Distinguished Adaptation of a Cleveland Landmark. Congratulations.
On behalf of our Bedrock Detroit and Cleveland teams, it is my pleasure to accept the Distinguished Adaptation of a Cleveland Landmark and the Building Craft Awards. We are truly humbled with the recognition, and we'd like to thank the Cleveland Restoration Society and the AIA Cleveland for bestowing these honors upon the May. The restoration of the iconic May Company building was, and always will be, an important project for us. As it was our first major undertaking in Cleveland, it is also a downtown Cleveland landmark with a great deal of tradition and nostalgia. And we were very intentional about the extra time, consideration, and care taken to ensure that the integrity of the structure was maintained. We'd like to thank Geist Construction and GLSD Architects for their hard work getting the project done on time and in pristine condition to welcome the residents who now call the May home. If you haven't already had the opportunity to visit the May in person, It stretches a full city block from Euclid Avenue to Prospect Avenue and includes more than 900,000 square feet of residential space and 80,000 square feet for retail. It's situated on the historic Euclid Avenue and within view of Public Square. The team had the unique challenge of turning 100,000 square feet floor plates into 307 residential suites. We are really excited with the amount of outdoor space the mayor offers the residents. A large, centrally located, open-air atrium, and a spacious private roof deck for everyone to relax and entertain throughout the year, all within the heart of downtown Cleveland. We invite everyone to stop by for a tour and explore what the May has to offer. Again, thank you, and I hope to see you all in Cleveland very soon.
Thank you for attending tonight's program. If you are interested in participating in more preservation-related events, we hope you will consider joining the Cleveland Restoration Society. Membership includes a subscription to our biannual magazine, Facade, and opportunities to participate in preservation events, including our free behind-the-scenes Snoop tours. Log on to clevelandrestoration.org to learn more. AIA Cleveland will once again be hosting its annual Cleveland Design Awards celebration in November of this year. This year's celebration will be a virtual one. Submission categories include architecture, interior architecture, small projects, unbuilt, makers, photography, and student awards. So start planning for your award submissions today. For more information on the event and more information on the call for entries, please visit the AIA website at www.aiacleveland.com. That concludes the 2021 virtual celebration of preservation. Congratulations to all of tonight's winners, and a special thanks to our viewers. Good night.